We got two great guests in studio here, and not only two great guests, two representatives of the Mason County Sheriff's Office, but now both graduates of the FBI Law Enforcement Academy. Is that right?
Right.
Right.
Casey, tell us about one of the most recent graduates who's here with us.
Well, Travis Adams is our Undersheriff, and to go to the FBI Academy, you have to have somebody sponsor you. You have to be willing to go. Then you have to have somebody that's been a graduate to sponsor you. And I had the great privilege of being Travis's sponsor. They do that because once you've been there, you know what it takes to go through there, and they want you to make sure that you choose somebody that's going to put in the effort. And so I was really thrilled when Travis wanted to go through the academy and was able to sponsor him, and now he's back.
How long were you out there for? A while now.
The academy itself is 10 weeks,
Yeah.
and I was gone for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like first when you heard about Sheriff Salisbury nominating you, putting your name into the hat? Between that point and then when you first arrived at Quantico, is that where it is?
Yep, it's at Quantico Marine Base. It's one of those things, it's a very long process. So I got in about 2 years after I applied, and that was considered to be fairly quick.
Okay.
For getting in. And so Washington State only gets 4 people per class, and they have 4 classes per year. So there's 16 people from all of Washington State that get to go each year, and there's several hundred applications that are in the queue at any given time.
Holy
and
moly.
so it's
Wow, I realize that.
even if you get nominated, most people that are nominated don't get selected to go. And so it was quite an honor when I found out that I got picked, and after only 2 years.
I was
Very
six
cool.
years for me.
Took you 6 years to
I got it at Thurston County after 3 years of wait, and right when I got it, I would have went right after I got elected in 2007. So they say if you turn it down, you can never go again, but I had to turn it down because of the election, and then they asked me again after that why I didn't go, and I said, well, it was tough. So the FBI agent that sponsored me put my name back in, and 3 years later,
Oh, very cool.
but it was 6 years.
Sure. Wow.
Congratulations.
So it's a long time to be
Very
away
cool.
from the area here and friends and family and all that. But while you're there, what is it like? How regimented is it? Is it just like a military academy training or FBI training? Or
Yeah, so what most people don't understand is that the University of Virginia has a satellite campus at the FBI Academy. So you're taking courses through the University of Virginia and being hosted by the FBI Academy. So you're staying in the dorms, you're eating in their cafeteria, doing all of those things, but you're taking courses through the university. And you have the choice between bachelor's level classes or master's level classes. Because of my level of education, I had to take master's courses. So that means a lot of nights of staying up and doing research and writing very long papers and going pretty deep into
Almost like
topics.
Go back to college.
Oh, it is.
You are back
Yeah.
in graduate
Right.
school.
I mean, 10 weeks, that's a
Absolutely.
semester or
Yeah,
a trimester.
you get full
or
credit
whatever.
for it. The
Yes.
thing is if you have a graduate degree already, and I don't know if I told Travis this, but I did the same thing. You don't really have a choice. If you've got a master's or above, you're in graduate level classes, which means, like in my case, I had to take the test and I had to write papers. And at a couple of Travis classes, he didn't necessarily have to take tests, but you've got to write graduate level papers, and they're not just graded by the FBI. They go to the University of Virginia, so their professors look at them. So if you haven't done
No
graduate
pressure.
level, you haven't done graduate level papers before, know how to do all that kind of stuff, you're in trouble. It's a lot of work.
What type of classes?
So I took a number of classes. We have 2 classes that are required for everybody. There's a PT class, so physical training.
Sure.
And that involved being in the classroom, doing nutrition and physiology and those things. And then there's a physical portion of it. So you go to the gym and they try to kill you. You try to survive. It's a great program.
Break you down
And
every
then
day.
every week there's a challenge, a physical challenge that everybody in the class takes. And it culminates in a 6+ mile obstacle course run at the Quantico Marine Officers Obstacle Course there. So there's that component. And then the other required class is basically it's a forum class where they bring in everybody from generals to FBI, people who are involved in major cases, and you go over major complex cases, some of the challenges and leadership issues that they ran into. So we went over one of the FBI instructors who was the lead interrogator for, who was it?
Was it Bin Laden or one of those?
No, not Bin Laden, but over in Iraq, the guy who's. Yeah, anyway.
Saddam?
Saddam Hussein, there we go.
Oh,
What am
wow.
I thinking? Yes. So he was the lead interrogator for Saddam Hussein after he
Oh.
got captured. And
Okay.
we had one of the FBI people who was in charge down in Las Vegas when they had the big shooting from the casino
Oh,
down
yeah.
there. The Pulse nightclub down in Florida, we went over a full debrief on that. So we did a whole bunch of
Wow.
debriefs on all the leadership challenges and things that go along with that.
We had General Hugh Shelton, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff,
Uh-huh.
and Chief Warrant Officer Mike Durant from Black Hawk Down.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
That's
they bring
so
in
cool.
Is
pretty
there a
tremendous
cost to the
people.
county on this?
No.
No,
cost?
No, that's important to bring up. No cost to the county.
Yeah, nope, there's no cost to the county. The FBI basically pays for your room and board,
Sure.
for all your food, most of your enrichment things that are going on there. And so very little to no cost to the
So you're a
county.
pretty tough guy, and I know that you've gone through the ranks here. Was there a time when you were like, oh, man, I don't know if I can do this?
Not as far as the physical or the educational component of it. No, I think the most challenging thing is you're away from home and you're away from your family, and
Sure.
you don't get to see your family for 3 months. And so on the West Coast, it's a little more challenging to get home on a 2-day weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
There are a lot of people over there who it's a 6-hour drive home. They run home for the weekend,
Right.
or it's
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
3-hour flight and they're back home. But for us, on the West Coast,
much
it's
stuck here.
it's
Stuck
12
here.
hours of travel by the time you head out the door and head back in your door at home.
What can you take from what you learned and implement as undersheriff for the rest of the troops there in the department?
So some of the other classes that I took were managing internal leadership crises, how you deal with internal leadership issues that go on, whether
Yeah.
they're critical incidents or other major incidents that occur in the county. I took a class on managing organizational change, how you manage a department through major changes that need to occur, and how you go through that process in order to move the department in the direction that you need it to go. So that's one component. You take excellent classes like that from great instructors. I think the other thing that it does that's very important is that you get very in-depth on all of the federal resources that are available to local law enforcement for free. And
Oh,
they're
that's
one of
great.
those things that you just don't know about until you spend a bunch of time talking to them and learning about them and all the things that you can access. So I'll give you one example.
Sure.
They have the FBI has what's called a CART team. It's the Child Abduction Response Team. If you have what you believe to be a child abduction, you can get a hold of the FBI, spool up their CART team, and they will have 100 to 200 agents down here before you are done with your initial investigation, and they will bring every asset from communications equipment to behavioral profilers who can tell you, who your most likely suspects are, where to search based on the type of crime, and those type of things. So when you look at the things that are available to you based on just going there and getting in depth and talking to those people and finding out all about the stuff that's available, it's fantastic.
What you have, Jeff, I know that there was one person speaking out against this and that it costs too much and to be gone. It doesn't cost, it's paid for. But what do you get out of it? Well, I'll tell you what you get out of it. Recently, we had that Emory case up north.
Yeah.
And because of our contacts with the FBI and being academy graduates, we have immediate access to the FBI agents in the academy. We were able to bring down 16 FBI agents immediately, come down from their evidence response team from ERT and do that for us. We didn't have those contacts before. Numerous times we can call people in other parts of the country or other graduates. I've contacted through email all the way across the world, people in another country for information on certain things that happen that were academy class graduates with you. So the information that you have just isn't coming from here. It can come from another expert from all the way across the world that you went to class with. You can
Wow.
call right into the FBI and have that. And that's why they do this, actually. That's why the FBI does this, is because years ago they felt that they needed to reach out to local agencies on cases and bring our information systems closer together. So it works out great for us. Numerous times over the past 12 years, the FBI has come down here and done presentations for us on topics because of that. And now with Travis going through, it just doubles that effort. The other piece behind that, I think, that's important for people to understand is the academy is tough to get in there. That's 90% of the battle. A lot of people just won't qualify to go back there. And that's why it's so important when you recommend somebody that you know has the education, training, and experience. And the last piece is, if you look around at most, not all, but most agencies of any size in the U.S., if you're putting in to be a chief in those agencies or a director of leadership in those agencies, one of the first questions they ask you, have you had FBI Academy or Northwestern?
No.
And if you haven't had it, most require a master's degree in the FBI Academy. And if you don't have it, you're not going anywhere. So it's a very, very important class. It's important enough nationwide that the big agencies are saying, we want you to be a graduate of there before you're in our agency. And so as a fairly small or mid-sized agency in the state, but as a very small agency to have two, it's wonderful. And we both hope that in the future that Travis now will be looking around over the next few years, and he will be looking and watching for that person that he says, that's the person to go to represent Mason County. It's hard to get in the system because if you don't keep sending people, then you don't get back in. And so Travis will be watching now over the next few years to see who's going to put
and they only
in.
want the best in there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's a tough deal. It's an honor. It's really an honor to have done
Totally
that.
is.
Yeah, and
it is.
just to underscore what he was saying, it is like adding 227 people to your command staff is essentially what it's like.
Wow.
Because we're all in communication online, and already people from our class are sending messages back and forth. Hey, has anybody dealt with this? Does anybody have a policy on that? And so you're taking command level personnel from all across the country, and they're an immediate resource to any issue that you may be having at the time or anything you're researching or looking to implement. And that's just valuable.
The people I don't want to say competing with, but you're in class with back there, and again, because we both had to take graduate level classes, so it's most of the people that I saw back there. Many of these people have law degrees and PhDs already, psychology degrees in psychology, they're lawyers going through. And in a couple of classes that I took, in a law class that I took, you had to pass a midterm and a final. If you didn't pass one of the other, you were gone.
Yeah.
And we lost people. One of them had a law degree. So I'm
wow.
telling you, when I was there, for me, I have to study a lot. And I would get done with class, go eat dinner, and maybe take an hour off, and I'd be studying and writing papers in the wee hours of the night all the way through. And then you're up at 4:35 in the morning, you're doing PT in the morning before you go into classes the rest of the day. And it never ends. I mean, the weekends are full. You get to see some beautiful things when you're there. I don't know how much Travis got to go back and see, but when you're back there on the East Coast, that's where everything happens.
Yeah.
And you get to go to the nation's capital, and one of our leadership courses took us to the 8th and I, which is the United States Marine Corps facility, where you see the Marine Corps band and the silent drill team perform. That's part of one of your classes. But you're all over Washington, D.C. and different places back there. It's beautiful.
Steeped in history. Very cool. Well,
Very
congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you back in the
Yes,
Thank you.
friendly
definitely.
confines of Mason County. The Sheriff Sit Down today brought to you by our Community Credit Union, Sheriff Casey Salisbury and Undersheriff Travis Adams. Thank you much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.